Why did English, not Chinese, Spanish, or Arabic, become the global language? In this two-part series on Cambridge A-Level English Language Paper 4, Section A, we're going to find out. In this first video, we'll explore 12 key theories that explain how English became the dominant world language. These include historical, social, political, and cultural perspectives that are essential for building high-level analysis in your exam. Then in part 2, we'll take a real past paper question, analyse the text, and show you how to plan a strong response using these theories effectively. Let's begin. We begin with Jared Diamond, who argues that geography, not intelligence or cultural superiority, determined which languages spread globally. In his book Guns, Germs and Steel, Diamond explains that European dominance, and by extension the global rise of English, was enabled by access to fertile land, trade routes, navigable rivers, and domesticable animals. These geographical advantages allowed certain civilizations to develop weapons, technology, and ships that enabled colonization. So English didn't spread because it was better. It spread because those who spoke it had the tools to travel and conquer. Robert McCrum offers a complementary view. In his documentary series and book, The Story of English, he explores how English evolved into a global language through both hard and soft power. He acknowledges the British Empire's role in planting English in colonies, but emphasises that America's rise in the 20th century made English culturally dominant. Through Hollywood, television, advertising, and pop music, English became associated with modernity, glamour, and global culture. McCrum's work highlights how global audiences internalised English, not because they were forced, but because they desired access to its symbolic capital. Now let's turn to a more critical perspective. Robert Phillipson's theory of linguistic imperialism argues that the spread of English is not neutral or innocent. It's a form of cultural domination. He claims that English has been deliberately promoted by powerful nations to suppress other languages and strengthen political and economic influence. This often happens through global education systems, where English is made the language of opportunity. Philipson warns that this reinforces inequality and creates linguistic hierarchies where local languages are devalued and English becomes a gatekeeper to success. Henry Widdowson offers a very different view. He believes that once a language is shared globally, no one can truly own it. Widdowson argues that English has been appropriated by different communities around the world. That means people use it on their own terms, adapting its grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation to suit their needs. In this view, Nigerian English, Indian English, and Singaporean English are not inferior versions. They are localised varieties shaped by unique social realities. Norman Fairclough's theory of language and power helps explain how control is maintained through communication. He argues that institutions like governments, media, and education use language to shape public opinion and reinforce existing power structures. When schools insist on correct English, they are often promoting the dialect of the powerful, not a neutral standard. Fairclough introduces the idea of synthetic personalisation, where public language imitates friendly conversation to build rapport while still maintaining control. Understanding Fairclough helps you critique the ideological function of English in global discourse. William Labov's research focuses on the idea of linguistic prestige. He found that people often change their language to match the speech of socially dominant groups. This is known as overt prestige. On the other hand, some communities take pride in their local dialects, a concept known as covert prestige. In global terms, English, especially native or standard varieties, carries overt prestige. People adopt it not just for communication, but to signal education, modernity, or global belonging. John Honey was a strong advocate of Standard English. He believed that having one correct form of the language promotes clarity, national unity, and upward mobility. He argued that schools should focus on teaching Standard English to help everyone compete fairly in society. However, his views were controversial. Critics argue that Honey's approach ignores the richness of dialects and unfairly disadvantages those who don't speak the standard variety. Instead of creating fairness, it can reinforce class and regional inequalities. David Crystal is one of the most influential voices on global English. He explains that English spread not because it was better, but because of historical factors like colonisation, industrialisation, and the rise of the United States. Crystal also notes that English now serves many roles. It's a native language, a second language, and a foreign language. Its adaptability allows it to survive and thrive across contexts, from texting apps to academic journals. Peter Trudgill studies how language changes based on geography, social class, and culture. He argues that linguistic variation is natural and valuable. There's no single correct English. Jamaican English, Singaporean English, and British English are all equally legitimate. Trudgill warns against judging other varieties by native speaker standards. He sees English as a family of languages, constantly evolving to meet local needs. Brahm Katru developed a model to explain how English is used worldwide. The inner circle includes countries where English is the native language, like the UK and USA. The outer circle includes countries where English has official status and is widely used, such as India or Nigeria. The expanding circle includes countries where English is learned as a foreign language, like Brazil or Japan. Katru's model helps us understand the global ecology of English and why one-size-fits-all definitions don't work. Jennifer Jenkins argues that English is now primarily used as a lingua franca, meaning a common language between speakers of different native languages. She emphasises that most English conversations today happen between non-native speakers. These interactions don't always follow native speaker rules, and that's okay. Jenkins believes we should accept variation and prioritise communication over correctness. This has major implications for English teaching and assessment. Jean Aitchison studied public attitudes toward language change. She identified 3 popular myths: the crumbling castle myth, which imagines English used to be perfect and is now falling apart; the damp spoon myth, which links bad language to laziness; and the infectious disease myth, which treats non-standard usage like a virus. Aitchison rejects these views. She believes that language change is inevitable, adaptive, and even creative. New varieties of English are not corruptions, they are innovations. Let's recap. We explored 12 theories that explain how English became a global language, from colonisation and pop culture to power structures and linguistic innovation. This is part 1 of our Paper 4 series. In part 2, we'll take a real past paper question, analyse the text, and show you exactly how to plan a strong, exam-ready response using these theories. If you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Which theory do you find most interesting, and why? See you in the next video.